Imagine flying over the Atlantic Ocean when all of a sudden the engines shut down. You look out of the window and all you see is just water all around you. This is exactly what happened to Air Transat flight 236 in August of 2001. The Airbus A330-300 suffered a fuel leak that the pilots first misinterpreted as a faulty fuel gauge. Eventually they realized that they were indeed losing fuel at an alarming rate, but it was too little too late. Both engines eventually flamed out, meaning the pilots were stuck with a 130-ton heavy glider with over 300 souls on board. The pilots stayed calm and managed to land the A330 on the Azores Islands, saving everyone's lives. The flight was later referred to as the Azores Glider. In case you want to know more about this miracle, I can highly recommend you Mentor Pilot's video that I'll link you in the description. If the story of the Azores Glider interests you as much as me, then you will be pleased to see today's model airplane review. Kylin Models just made this exact aircraft as a model in 1:400 scale on their brand new mold. As usual, I'll do an in-depth review of this model split into 4 sections. I'll start by looking at the box, then the mold, the landing gear, and of course also the printing and quality of the model. Each of these criteria will get a score so we can determine the model's overall score out of 10. Alright, let's look at the box. We get a very nice looking box from Kylin Models. On the front we get a picture of the aircraft after it had landed safely, as well as a map of the airport. On the back of the box you find the story behind the model, which is a very nice touch. It's always appreciated when we get a bit of information on the airplane printed on the box. We also get a collector's card with the model, which I'm a big fan of. It would have been nice to get a sturdier box with maybe a flip top to give the model a more premium feel. Additionally, a stand would also have been nice to display the model in flight. For those reasons, I'll give it a score of 4 out of 5. Contrary to most new brands in 400 scale, Kylin Models decided against using molds from other manufacturers. Instead, they opted to produce some brand new molds like this Airbus A330-300. On first glance, it looks very good, but there are a few places the mold could still be improved on. One of these areas is definitely the nose. It's not bad by any means, but when comparing it to the real aircraft, we see that the nose shape should be a bit pointier. The rest of the fuselage looks very good though, with some nice and small aerials on top and bottom, as well as a molded in Satcom dome. The wings look good, and so do the engines, at least from the outside. Looking into the engines though, I'm not that impressed. Kylin opted to go with solid core engines instead of see-through engines, which is fine by me, but the detail could still have been better, as you almost can't see the different fan blades. Another strong point of this model is the wing seam. The wings sit extremely tight and you barely see a seam line, which is great. The underside of the model also looks good, with all of the 3 NACA air intakes molded in, unlike other brands. The rear section of this model also looks very good, with accurate vertical and horizontal stabilizers and even a small hole for the APU exhaust, which I appreciate. Overall, it's a good A330 mold that compares well to the market leaders' NG models. There are a few minor flaws, like the nose shape and the engine fan blades, but those aren't big deals at all. I'll give this mold a solid 8 out of 10, although the potential is definitely there for it to become a 9 or even a 10 with a few small updates. If you enjoyed this video so far, please drop a like and maybe even a comment. It helps the channel out massively and I really appreciate it. Let's move on to the landing gear now. The individual gear legs look very detailed and compare well with the competition. The tires all roll nicely and the main landing gear also tilts, although there isn't a lot of movement. One complaint I have though is the size of the tires. They seem to be slightly too large, but that's not too big of a deal. Of course, magnetic removable landing gear would have been awesome, but that remains an exclusive to Aviation 400 models for the moment. So yeah, the gear itself looks excellent, only slightly oversized tires and lack of magnetic landing gear can be criticized. Therefore, I'll give the gear a 3.75 out of 5. Lastly, we look at the printing and quality of the model, as that's an area that can easily make or break a model airplane. The printing itself is done very nicely and up to standard with other brands. We do not get the same amount of printed detail like we for example get with HX models, but the things that are printed on are done so very cleanly. The livery too looks very accurate and I have nothing to critique there. The quality of the model is excellent. There aren't any loose parts or other mistakes on the model. Quality and printing gets a 9 out of 10. Good work, Kylin. I'm sure all of you are very excited to figure out this model's rating out of 10, so let me just quickly run the numbers through my model airplane rating formula, and the final rating is a 8.3 out of 10. I have been very impressed by Kylin Models so far. I have already looked at their A319 and A320, and now also their A330, and these are all lovely little models. The A330, as I said, has still some room for improvement. The best A330 in 400 scale remains the NG Models one, but I would argue that the Kylin Models is currently the second best. They have also made an A330-300 and an A340-300 that will probably share a lot of similarities to this model I just reviewed. As it stands right now, I can definitely recommend you any of their models, and I'm very curious to see what the future holds for Kylin Models. That's it for this video, but maybe you also want to watch one of these ones. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Swiss 400 for more model airplane content. Until next time, goodbye aviators!